including me. My life is...
Hello visionaries, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marisa Talbert. I'm the founder and CEO of Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. Alright, so we're obviously at the start of a new year, and I've been hearing a lot of discussion about setting quarterly goals. As a matter of fact, many of my clients have been requesting audits for their business or their nonprofit organization so that they can include the results of the audit within their goal setting for the quarter and ultimately for the year. So in this video, I want to give you 10 practical steps so that you can conduct your own business legal audit. Now, a full business audit is quite comprehensive, and it will include an evaluation of more than just legally related compliance. But if your business or organization is not legally sound, then it impacts every other aspect of your business to include your finances, your productivity, and your profitability. So the goal today is to identify and correct any liability gaps that may expose your company to consequences that you cannot recover from. Ultimately, these tips are designed to help you keep your business going so you can stay productive and so you can stay profitable. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Number 1, make sure your business registration renewal is up to date. When I say business registration renewal, I'm not talking about your EIN or your employer identification number. I am referring to your articles of organization or your articles of incorporation that were filed with your Secretary of State to create either your LLC or your corporation. Your entity typically is required to renew that business registration annually. Now, that does not mean that your renewal due date is always going to be in January of each year, but you should be aware of when your renewal is due and make sure that you renew your business on time. Number 2, make sure that your beneficial ownership information report is completed. I hope by now you've heard of the federal requirement, the new law called the Corporate Transparency Act. This new law requires all businesses to report information about the owners of the business. For businesses formed before January 1st, 2024, you have until January 1st, 2025 to complete this report. If your business was created or registered on or after January 1st, 2024, you have 30 days to complete this reporting. I have a step-by-step tutorial on how to complete this report if you have not done so already, and I will link it below in the description box. Keep in mind that some entities are exempt from this requirement, which include nonprofit organizations. But if you are a for-profit business that is earning less than $5 million in revenue annually or have less than 20 employees, then you're generally required to file this report. And failure to do so can result in fines and penalties of $500 a day up to $10,000 until the report is submitted. And we don't want that. All right, number 3. Make sure that your corporate documents are accurate and up to date. Corporate documents could include your LLC's operating agreement, it could include your corporate bylaws, or it could be your shareholders agreement. You should be considering and reviewing whether your business structure is still the proper structure for your company. Does it make sense for your company to still be registered as an LLC? Or are you looking to bring on investors and maybe need to convert to a corporation? Are you a C corporation that is tired of being double taxed and maybe it makes more sense for you to convert to an S corporation? Is your corporation holding meetings as required by law or as dictated by your bylaws? If not, maybe it's time to amend your bylaws. Are meeting minutes being maintained when the company is making major decisions? Have your board of directors changed, and do you need to update those changes? Have new LLC members or shareholders been added to the company? If so, have each of them signed the operating agreement or the shareholders agreement? Do your organizational spending thresholds need to be raised or limited? For example, let's say that your shareholder agreement states that before the company spends $5,000 or more in company funds, that the company must receive 66% voter approval from all the shareholders. But let's say throughout the year, you realize that 66% is way too high. You have 5 shareholders, and in order to make a decision, you need 4 out of the 5 to vote yes, as opposed to 3 out of the 5, which would be 60%. Maybe you need to change your shareholders agreement. Or maybe you realize that the $5,000 threshold is much too low. Maybe it should be increased to $7,500, or the company should be able to spend $10,000 before requiring a vote of the shareholders. The point is that now is a great time to reflect on how the business is actually operating and making sure that your corporate documents reflect what the business actually does, rather than what sounded like a good idea when the business was formed. Sometimes updating the corporate documents is as simple as making sure that all the documents now have the new updated business address because you changed locations. These gaps can be easily filled if you just take some time to make it a priority. So get it done. Number 4, are your tax returns submitted and are your estimated tax payments made? Y'all, please make sure that your tax returns are filed on time. And make sure that them estimated tax payments are submitted. Being a business owner is not for the faint at heart. If you are a new business owner, you are required to pay quarterly estimated taxes. In 2024, your estimated tax payments are due on January 16th, which is already passed, April 15th, June 17th, and September 16th. And you might ask, how do you estimate what your taxes are going to equal out to? And that's a really good question. If you are a C corporation, the federal corporate tax rate is 21%. For example, as a C corporation, let's say that your company earned $50,000 in net profit, not just revenue, but profit for the year of 2023. You would take 21% of $50,000, which equals $10,500. So you would take that $10,500 and divide that by 4 for each quarter throughout the year. So your estimated tax burden for each quarter would be $2,625. Now, there are other ways to still lower that tax burden once you actually file your tax returns, which would be now in the current tax season. And if you overpaid and estimated too much, then obviously your corporation would be entitled to a tax refund. But that's just a quick example to show you the most simple math. For LLCs and S corporations, there are so many more variables because those are pass-through entities. And so the taxes are reflected on the owner's individual income taxes. If you are an LLC or an S Corp, you want to talk to a tax professional to understand what your estimated tax payment should be each year moving forward, or you may use the previous year's estimated tax returns as a basis for your estimated quarterly tax payments moving forward. Okay, enough about taxes, y'all. I hope that wasn't confusing because I'm almost confused myself. But anyway, moving right along, pay your taxes. That's the point. Number 5, make sure that you have legally enforceable contracts. Notice I said legally enforceable contracts. Some of you think you have contracts, but they don't protect you from a doggone thing. Make sure that you have the right kind of contract for the right type of situation. If you provide services, you probably should have a service agreement. If you offer products, you may need a refund policy. If you've hired employees, each employee needs an employee agreement. If you hire independent contractors, they should have independent contractor agreements. If you have a podcast, you need a podcast release agreement so that a guest doesn't come back 2 years later claiming that you never had permission to use their name and likeness. You see where I'm going with this? You got to have the right contract for the right situation, and it's got to be a legally enforceable contract so that it actually protects you. If you need a legally enforceable contract, you can grab one at the TLO Marketplace at talbertlawoffice.com. I'll place the link in the description box below. But it's 2024, y'all. Stop playing yourself. Get your contracts in order. Now. Right now. Immediately. Moving right along to number 6. Make sure you have the necessary insurance policies. I recently released a video about insurance policies for small businesses. Again, it's time to stop playing around with your productivity and your profitability. You don't want someone accusing you of getting a rash from using your makeup line. You don't want someone suing you for allegedly giving them bad advice and causing them to lose money as a consultant. These are the random type of events that are hard for small businesses to defend and recover from because small businesses think it won't happen to them or they prioritize other things. Get your insurance policies in place and make sure that your policies are adequately funded. If you need $1 million of insurance, get $1 million of insurance. If you need $100,000 of insurance, start with $100,000 of insurance. But get something. Number 7. You know we can't talk legal and business without talking about intellectual property. Is your business name trademarked? Is your business logo trademarked? Why not? Why not? It costs too much money now, but you're going to be devastated when you find out that someone else has already trademarked your business name that you thought was so creative. And you built your entire brand around this business name and never thought to look to see if it was already taken. Do you have the rights to your social media handles? Do you have the rights to the domain name that you use for your business website? Is your curriculum copyrighted? Why not? Why not? You better get serious about protecting your creative genius. All of this stuff that you've done and built and marketed and branded to lose it. Because you was playing around. I done told you once, I done told you twice. We moving on. Number 8, review your website. Check to make sure your website is up to date. Check to make sure there are no broken links. Check to make sure that the services that you say you're offering, you're still offering. Maybe you've updated your pricing, but the public doesn't know yet because it's not accurately reflected on your website. Confirm the functionality of your contact form. Confirm that your content is still relevant and remove any outdated information. Does your website have a privacy policy or terms and conditions as required by law? Your website is not a create it and forget it item. Make sure that your website design aligns with your brand and your vision. Number 9, review your business practices. Owning a business is not just about saying you have an LLC. You have to ensure that you are treating your business as a separate person or be held personally responsible when it all goes wrong. A few ways to minimize the possibility of being held personally liable, or what we call piercing the corporate veil, is making sure that your business is adequately funded to maintain business operations. You should be making sure that you're keeping your personal bank accounts and your business bank accounts separate and not commingling funds. This is very, very important. You should also be making sure that you are signing contracts in your official business capacity and not as an individual. Are you using your legal designators such as LLC or incorporated or corporation at the end of your business name? Are you purchasing business property in the name of the business and not in an individual's name? Review your business practices and make sure that you are treating your business as a separate person. This is very, very important. And last but not least, number 10, make sure your technology is up to date. Last year around September, my iMac crashed. I lost YouTube videos. I lost some other important files. However, what I did not lose was my client files because I had them backed up to a hard drive and also backed up to a cloud. I say all that to say if your business is based on some level of technology, make sure your technology is able to withstand your workload. As we wrap this up, I'm just going to recap those 10 tips once again. Number 1, make sure that your business registration renewal is up to date. Number 2, make sure that you have completed your beneficial ownership information report. Number 3, make sure your corporate documents are accurate and up to date. Number 4, file your taxes and make sure to pay your estimated tax payments. Number 5, make sure you have proper and legally enforceable contracts. Number 6, make sure you have the proper and adequately funded insurance policies. Number 7, get serious about protecting your intellectual property. Number 8, review your website for any discrepancies or anything that's outdated. Number 9, review your business practices to make sure that you are keeping your business separate from your personal. And number 10, make sure your technology is up to date. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope this was helpful. As you know, I love to hear your feedback in the comments. Let me know which tip that you will be intentional about completing and working on in this first quarter of the year. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with a friend. And as always, this is Talbert Law Office, your favorite go-to legal resource for all things business, nonprofit, and intellectual property law. And I'll see you in the next video.